talk about Pokemon, they said. It'll be easy, they said. Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of these wonderful tier list videos. My name is RabbidLuigi. We have talked about many different franchises at this point. Last time was Sonic. That went slightly better than I thought it would, because, I don't know, it kind of opens itself up for controversy and, you know, having controversial opinions about Sonic, but I feel like we did well. It wasn't actually as bad as it could have been, but, you know, that's what today is for, because today I'm going to talk about Pokemon and Pokemon video games and how wonderful they are and how they might not be as wonderful as you might think depending on which generation we're talking about. I'm not so sure. What I have for you today is this tier list. We haven't got an F rank anymore because we don't actually need it. I don't think there's a terrible Pokemon game out there. No game in... I mean, there's been some dodgy Pokemon games and not great examples of Pokemon, but nothing here. I wouldn't say anything here really warrants an F rank. Like, we have 5 different tiers to fit all these games in, and of course the way that Pokemon works is that there is no great difference between, say, Pokemon Fire Red over here and Pokemon Leaf Green here. I should have maybe organized this, so what I'll probably do is just do it as we go. For example, Alpha Sapphire's up here, and then once I've decided where that goes, I'll just put Omega Ruby with it, because honestly, the only real discrepancy between the two is which legendary you like the most, and I don't think that's really going to alter what tier it goes in. So, I mean, obviously we also have, for some Pokemon games, not all Pokemon games, we have the third version, which is like Crystal to Silver and Gold over here. That will be different, potentially. We don't really know, because they are different games. They're like the ultimate version of that generation, so we'll see how that goes. But I would like to start off by putting what I believe to be the peak of Pokemon. Maybe the peak of Pokemon. I mean, I have my favorite. We'll get to my favorites, but I want to say Platinum is maybe as good as Pokemon has ever gotten, and I don't know if that's a controversial opinion or not. That's the wild thing about this, because Pokemon Platinum, coming off the back of Gen 4, which was a bit slow and lethargic, and we'll get to that in greater detail when we get there, it was a really refined version of that. And there was already a lot to love in Gen 4, but they streamlined a lot of the processes, they added so much more with the distortion world, and the story is suddenly way more fleshed out. There's a ton of post-game, there's just a ton to do and a ton to enjoy. It's a really smooth Pokemon experience without any, you know, filler or just random guff or animations that take too long. So you've kind of got the best all-round Pokemon experience, in my opinion. And I know other games would eventually include more Pokemon, but about 450, 480 odd, I forget where we ended up at the end of Platinum, but that is a good number of Pokemon to potentially get all of them if you want to actually connect to all the other games that came beforehand, and it's an attainable goal rather than being something a bit crazy. So Pokemon Platinum for just being this good collection of ideas and really well-refined third game in Gen 4. I'm going to put it in S. It just feels like the right place for it to be right now. And because this is in no discernible order, I don't really know how people make these tier lists and how they determine what order the icons are in. Maybe I would actually make a tier list if I planned this out a bit more, so I had all the games that I wanted to talk about. But we have randomly a Gen 6 game, which is a remake of a Gen 3 game, which is Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. I'm going to put them together just so it's nice and easy. And when I played them, I really, really enjoyed them. I enjoyed getting back to what were kind of my childhood games. I mean, Pokemon Gold and Silver and Crystal, that generation is what I grew up on from like a young age. But by the time I was like 7, 8, 9, Ruby and Sapphire were the games I played to death. And to have them remade in Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, that is a wonderful thing. I enjoyed playing through them and seeing some very nostalgic parts of my childhood be relived and revamped and, you know, given this new coat of paint and also a kind of Gen 6 style 3D kind of idea to it. The problem is, like, there are parts of it that I don't really like, and it's kind of hard to really pinpoint one specific thing that I don't really like, but I don't really feel the need to play them again. And if I was to play one again, I'd play the actual originals, and I don't think... I feel like we've made too many progressions with Pokemon, at least from like a technical standpoint, for me to want to go back to it. And it was strange because you play it and it's got all these legendaries in it, but they're all very detached from everything else. And I liked the Delta episode; like that was fun. I don't really hate them. I don't hate any Pokemon games before you even get there, but I don't think they're they're as full of ideas and full of character as other Pokemon games are. And I mean, does that matter so much for a tier list? I mean, it feels like a flimsy excuse for criticizing them. I'm sure there's, you know, greater... I know there are massive videos online that go into greater depth, but, you know, we haven't really got time for that. We're going to be talking about a bunch of games, so I think the best place to put them for now, I mean, none of these positions are final. We might move them around. Is probably a B, because, you know, I just feel like there's something missing. It's a bit like a bit of a flat remake as it is, and you know, it needs something extra. And hopefully, when they remake Gen 4, they give it some time, give it some thought. Would be nice. The reason why I picked this tier list in particular is because it has random things like Pokemon Battle Revolution in here, which isn't a mainline Pokemon game. We got Pokemon Colosseum and the Stadium games down here, but it is separate to the traditional Gen handheld until Sword and Shield. Are Sword and Shield on here? Have I even checked that? I didn't even know they're on here. Are they on here? Shit, they aren't. Have I got to find another tier list? Oh, I actually know what I'm going to do with that, and you're going to like it, but we'll do them right at the end, okay? It'll be clever. So Pokemon Battle Revolution is a bit of an oddball, because it is along the same lines as Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness down here, where it's a main console Pokemon game as a spin-off, because that's just what Pokemon did for so long. But unlike Colosseum and XD Gale of Darkness, there's no framework, there's no story, there's no context to all this fighting. It's just, here's a bunch of Colosseums, here's a bunch of battle arenas, here's some very nice 3D models of Pokemon and some nice water effects on the camera. How about you just do some battling and just do a lot of Pokemon battling? It's really pure in that way. There's no pretense of, oh, there's a world that needs saving. It's just Pokemon battling, and if you really like Pokemon battling, it's a good way of experiencing that. But I feel like there's not enough feedback with the rewards. You don't feel very great about winning cups, winning, you know, competitions. It's just you gotta enjoy Pokemon battling a little too much. And it had some Wi-Fi to it, that was kind of cool, that's decent, but overall, it's a bit shallow as a game, and for that I'm going to put it in C, because it's got to go somewhere. And I think if your Pokemon it also has a main console, so it's not a cheap game to make or to sell or to buy, so it has to have something more to it, and it has virtually nothing to it except for Pokemon battling. So it's just a way of seeing 3D models, and you could do that anyway nowadays, so I don't know why you'd play it. We've now arrived at Pokemon Black 2, I think that is. White 2 is around here somewhere. It's over here. I've decided got something to recommend. Where is White 2? Anybody see White 2? Someone's found it already. White 2, there you go. For some reason I thought there was more white on the... I mean, there kind of is, but there's red and, you know, blue and stuff. But these are very unusual games as far as I see, because rather than being the definitive version of a gen when they came out, and this was Gen 5 of course, there were sequels. They literally are. They said Black and White 2 for a reason, but they were designed to be sequels. And what I like about them as sequels is that you do get a completely different view of the world. There's actually some value to playing the third version. In this case, it's kind of a third and fourth version of the gen, is that there's actually a completely different experience. There are some, you know, similarities with gym leaders, and there's a lot of the same characters, and of course the Pokemon themselves haven't really changed, but at least there's like a completely different start to the game. And like, you start in a different corner, you fight a poison gym leader called Roxy, who wasn't there before, and I think Sharon, how do you say his name? I don't fucking know. He's the first gym leader, so there's some interesting ideas played around with, and I did really enjoy it. I'm now just wondering, thinking about it, I didn't enjoy the story as much as the originals. In my head, I mean, we're talking about Black in a second, but I'm rather than thinking S or A, it's nowhere else other than that. I'm thinking, where would it be in comparison to the original Gen 5 games? And I don't know if this is controversial or not, but I'm going to do that with the view to putting the Gen 5 games in the S rank, but we'll get to that in a bit. In fact, right now, because Pokemon Black and White, when I played them, I played them late. I played them late because I didn't play Platinum for the longest time either, because I played Gen 4, kind of got off Pokemon a little bit, didn't really enjoy a lot of what Gen 4 was. And it meant that when Pokemon Black and White came out, where I should have been like, oh wow, this is really exciting, I'll get one version, my sister will get the other version, I'm pretty sure she just got a version that she enjoyed, and I was like, nah, I'm playing like Mario or something, fuck off. So, by the time I actually got around to playing, I think I played Pokemon White, I was kind of not caught up in the dialogue surrounding these games, where there's a few things that a lot of people don't like about Gen 5, whether it's being the Pokemon designs, which is a really, really shallow thing to dislike, by the way, and like, they didn't like some of the story elements. The story is the best that Pokemon's ever had. Genuinely, they've never got anywhere close to this, because, you know, there's a bit of a preachy message about, oh, we can't, you know, got a Pokemon shouldn't be fighting, that's madness, but also, it's not about the message, or even the story, it's the characters. Characters are so good, N is so layered and interesting, and starts off layered and interesting, and kind of loses layers to just become a terrible person. But you need a terrible person for everyone else to be balanced out, and that is an enjoyable thing. And Gen 5 was a step in the right direction, because Gen 4 had certain animations, but Gen 5 went, hey, let's go a bit crazy with animations and actually make it seem like things are happening and they'll bounce around, and it's more stylish in that regard, and it kind of stands alone, because immediately after this, we went into 3D models and stuff, so it occupies this really interesting stylistic bubble that Pokemon's never really dabbled with too much after this, so I would like to put them in S. I don't know if that's going to make people mad, but I don't really give a shit. Pokemon Gen 1! Oh, we're off to a flyer. Oh god, I mean, I hate myself. I mean, I'm gonna put them all together. How do I feel about Gen 1? I don't know. Honestly, like, I didn't grow up with these games. My sister did. She's a bit older than me. That's kind of how she grew up with them. She had Yellow, so she had that definitive experience straight out of the gate, where Pikachu follows you and it feels wonderful, but, like, playing them now, especially Gen 1, not Kanto, because Gen 3 kind of fixed that, and I do like a lot of what Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee did, but Gen 1 especially is rough. It's rough to play. There's a lot of things. I'm trying so hard to swallow a burp. I've just had fajitas. They were beautiful, but damn, I should not be recording a video straight after. There's a lot in Gen 1 of Pokemon that you miss, that later gens actually introduced and thought that was a good idea, and it was a good idea. Like, changing boxes is really clunky and stupid, and a lot of the Pokemon sprites are really clunky and stupid, and, you know, the whole stuff with items, and the fact you can't see your experience bar in red and blue. It's rough, it's tricky, and that's the thing, because I should criticize it a lot for being rough and dodgy and not all that great, but also it introduced so much, and it didn't get it all right, but it got it so close to being right that further games didn't have much to do to actually make it work properly, in a way. So I can't be too harsh on it. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this, but I want to do something like this, because Yellow's a bit different, because it did have changes made to it that it refined some ideas. It refined a few ideas and made them a bit more accessible, made them a little less stupid. So it's not as rough to play. It's actually quite enjoyable, and if you haven't played Yellow yet and are scared of Red and Blue, it's just an easy answer, isn't it? What the hell do I do with Pokemon Colosseum? I haven't played Pokemon Colosseum in a goddamn age, but I remember really enjoying it. That's the thing, and I don't really know why, because if I think back to it, it's a lot more railroaded than your traditional Pokemon adventure. There is a story, and the game really sticks to that story. It decides, this is what you're doing. You can't do anything else. You can't do much exploring. There's like, I don't know, let's say like 9 towns, and that sounds like a lot, but you can't really explore the routes in between. You're going from one place to another. It means there's not a lot of wild Pokemon to catch, which is a bit strange. There's like, I don't know, I think XD Gale of Darkness actually introduced wild Pokemon to the little mini-series they were doing here, but it's a lot more confined as a Pokemon game, and considering it's adventure and go out and catch whatever Pokemon you can, it's very hard to play this with the mindset that you're going to enjoy it like a traditional Pokemon game. But if you can enjoy it for what it is, which is an interesting idea with shadow Pokemon, that you can capture other people's Pokemon and take them as your own, you can purify them. It's interesting. It is interesting. It does play off quite well. There are some annoying things about it, like the fact that you can even see on the box art, you can't get Kyogre and Groudon. Don't think you can. Do I remember that correctly? I don't think they don't show up as shadow Pokemon, but you can use them in battle. Like, you can connect your games to it and actually you know, use Kyogre and Groudon in battles against each other with local multiplayer. Don't think that is a GameCube game. Of course there wasn't Wi-Fi, but it was catching like Suicune, Raikou, Entei, Shadow Pokemon, and I think also some pseudo-legendaries like Metagross near the end. Like, that was hard work. You can get like Can you get Ho in that game? I think you're just given it, but it is hard work to get some of the Shadow Pokemon, and you kind of need it to feel like you're making some progress. So I'm gonna put, I'm gonna put it there because I do like it. It's a fun game to play. It's just a bit different, a bit too different for a Pokemon game, and maybe if you're a purist, you might find it a little bit not ideal. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. Oh, crystal, which means we need to find gold and silver. Where's silver? Silver's disappeared over here. Okay, that's fine by me. Where's gold? Gold, no. Oh, diamond, get the fuck out of here, diamond. I don't need you yet. That's good. Okay, so we have Gen 2, effectively, is like my baby child. It's what I played growing up. It's wonderful, and you should all love it. And a large part of me is saying, just put it in S, just fuck it off and put it in S. And I can't put it in S, in reality, because it is more refined than Gen 1. It's significantly more refined than Gen 1. But it's still missing a few things a few little tweaks and touches that further games would actually add to it and would really improve on. So it's a little hard to recommend as the best that Pokemon's ever done, but it is a sizable enough leap from Gen 1 for me to say, yeah, this is moving in the right direction. This is, you know, Pokemon that people can fall in love with if they didn't really like Gen 1. It looks a lot like Gen 1, just, you know, slightly, you know, played with the art style. It's still 8-bit, but they did need to kind of spend some time with it, and to get it to like Gen 3, where things are suddenly a lot smoother. It did take a little while, but I do really enjoy it. Crystal, haven't played that much, can't really say much either way, but from what my sister says, this is the best thing that Pokemon's ever made, you know, games or otherwise. So I think for her, I kind of have to be nice to it and not put it in D. I mean, there was a moment, here's a story, here's me being an asshole. The first time I played Crystal, I basically made a new game on her game, and she said that's okay as long as you don't save it, because she's got a Suicune called Ribbons that she really likes. And then I got to the Bellsprout Tower and I saved, and I forgot that it was on a save file, and she'll still tell you that I'm a terrible person. So for that, I have to put it in there. This is not so serious. Listen, I like Gen 2. I like it a lot. I'll even compromise and put them in here, because I don't think they're the best Pokemon games, but they were a significant enough leap forward from Gen 1 for me to think that this is good. This is some good progress in making. Crystal just refines everything further. It's not massively different, but should I put it in A? I might put it in A. I'll come back to it. I might decide to put it in A later, depending on how we go, but, you know, it's alright. Gen 3, the Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald boys, get over here. I have mixed feelings on Gen 3, because I do think that for a while I thought this was the best that Pokemon's done, and that wasn't shortly after I played it when it was, you know, the latest gen. But if you stack it up against what more modern Pokemon gens have done, this is a lot more focused in a way. It's kind of trying to be just like the better version of the first two gens with improved graphics and, you know, a lot smoother gameplay you can run in this. There's 2 different types of bicycles. There's some beautiful animations and some lovely sprite. Honestly, some beautiful sprite work. Genuinely, I love some of the sprites in Gen 3. I don't really have many issues. That's the thing. I can't really think. I mean, there's a lot of water. That's not even like an IGN thing. And I know IGN caught a lot of flack for this because they had a go at the Gen 6 remakes for having too much water. But half the map is water, which does sound, you know, it's just how Pokemon is sometimes. You know, there's a lot of mountain in Gen 4, no one cares about that. But when there's water everywhere, you're just kind of going through it, finding Pokemon every 5 seconds, and that is annoying. It's not the fact that there's water everywhere, the fact there's wild Pokemon everywhere on routes sometimes, and that is kind of stupid. Also, as much as I loved it, kind of figuring it out as a Sherlock Holmes kind of thing with friends, and you know, it was like a rumor, but actually it was real because we looked into it further and decided that, you know, somebody went on a computer once and found out that actually to get the Reggies, there's like some bullshit with Braille you got to do, and that was amazing. So it was, I don't know, I can't really say I enjoyed working the Braille out, but it was fun as like a conspiracy thing when you're young, but I don't know. Emerald's a little different because we had the Battle Frontier, and that was a cool thing to do. I enjoyed that a lot. Never got very far with it because damn, it was hard. I was never very good when I was growing up playing that game, but I mean, these were the 3 games. Ruby more than Sapphire because my sister had Sapphire, but we just played. I played so many hours into these games, and I think that's a good thing. That feels like a good thing. Emerald's just like the definitive version. Can I put it in S? I want to put them in A. A is just going to be full of shit. You know this. Oh, I don't like it. A's. I don't know. I feel like this is. Should put all of it or just that in S? I feel like that might be. Nope. Hello. That might be okay for now. Just because. Again, like Ruby and Sapphire are what they are, but Emerald's like, it just adds more. It adds more onto a winning formula. And when you add more, you inevitably get more value with it. And that's a good thing. Diamond and Pearl and Platinum is already up there, but Diamond and Pearl are games that I don't like. I don't hate them. Golly gee gosh, I don't hate them, but damn, they're slow as fuck. I just can't. Like, I don't even know why, because I guess it was new hardware, and the animations, and if you did, you know, use like Draco Meteor and got a critical hit and took all of the damage off of an opponent and it went all the way down, it would take like 30 seconds to happen, and that's a long time for one move. So I don't really know why. Again, like, new hardware might be the issue, that they hadn't quite optimized it yet, and by the time they got to Platinum, they were just firing out all these moves really quickly. But it's a bit of a slog in places. Like I said, there's lots of mountains, so you're gonna find a lot of wild Pokemon. I didn't like a lot of the Pokemon either, thinking about it. Like, I don't hate it, but you really do notice how much of a gap, how much of a cosmic leap there is between Diamond and Pearl and Platinum, where suddenly Platinum is just working so well, and you wonder why was Diamond and Pearl so slow and so caught up in doing stupid mundane shit. So I don't really know where to put it in comparison. I feel like if I put it in B, considering what I've been saying about it, I would give off the wrong message, but I'm gonna put it in C. So I meant B. I don't know what I said. I don't want to put it in B because I like the games in B. C are the games I start to have issues with that might prevent me from playing them. So from that point of view, I think I'm happy with what I've got. No games in the D rank. Will Fire Red and Leaf Green be that? No, they won't be, actually. You can see what I mean about, like, Pokemon in general. It's pretty good. Like, we haven't had a terrible game yet. Fire Red and Leaf Green is not that game. It really isn't, because I really, really enjoy what these games did. I'm a little sad we didn't get some kind of, I don't know, Lightning Thunder Yellow or something, which you know, I guess it wasn't really a blue. I don't know. But as remakes go, at the time, not only were they the only remakes, but they were really impressive remakes, and definitely nowadays we would maybe be necessary for another remake, which isn't Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, but they were the first gen of Pokemon brought up to the standards of the third gen, which was pretty high, pretty impressive as it goes. So I can't really say that the gen is let down by that, or really Gen 1 is let down by that, because this is the definitive way of playing Gen 3. I don't know why you'd ever play Gen 1, really, if Gen 3 or Gen 1, I don't know, all numbers. I don't know why you'd ever play Gen 1 when the Gen 3 remakes of Gen 1 are as impressive as they are, and you still get the rough experience. It's just a lot less rough in a way. I don't know how to describe that, but like, you can run, you can use a bike, you can see your experience, like every little nitpick and every little issue with the balancing, like Psychic isn't absurdly stupid now. It's like, it ironed out a lot of problems of it, and I really like it. I don't think there are many issues I have with it. I could play this tomorrow and I'd have a great time. Can I put it in S with all knowledge in my head? I don't think there's many things I don't like about it. I'm gonna put it in S. I've convinced myself. Problem is, we've got some other games which I'm gonna immediately put in S, so everything's going in S, there's nothing you can do about it. Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you may have, you know, worked out that they were Gen 4. They came around during a gen that I didn't really care for that much. Thought the deal was a little slow, a little bit too boring. So the idea of my personal favourite gen being handled in that engine, a little scary, a little daunting, and also when you have your childhood game, there's a fear that if it is terrible, is it going to take my experiences of the originals? And that's a little, scary. So I didn't play it for the longest time. I'm glad I did, eventually, because they're actually wonderful. It's the same idea as Gen 3 remakes of Gen 1. Gen 4 remakes of Gen 2 is just blown out the water. It's so much better. Everything's so clear, and like the styles, the colours pop. It's really impressive. The Pokemon follow you. For no fucking reason, the Pokemon follow you. It's like the Pokewalker thing. It's just wonderful. It's genuinely wonderful. I would describe these, if I didn't describe Platinum or maybe Gen 5 as the best Pokemon games, these are the best Pokemon games. These are very, very impressive what they are. And really, when I look at the rest of this shit, Pokemon didn't get close after that. So I'm going to have to do this. Because if I don't, I'm going to feel upset with myself, let alone everyone else. So yeah, let's do that. Oh, here we go. Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, the Gen 7, technically, remakes of Gen 1. How do I feel now I've had time to think about it and process what exactly these games are? Because they're far from conventional Pokemon games. They're effectively Gen 1 remakes with a heavy focus based on which game you get on one specific Pokemon that's your partner, and a lot of like Pokemon Go elements as well. It's supposed to like tie in like a climbing on point for people who want to be interested in Pokemon, and exactly, they play Pokemon Go and then they enjoy it, and then they play Pokemon Let's Go and then they enjoy everything else. So it's that kind of game. And honestly, here's the thing, I really enjoyed it when I played it. When I look back on it now, I think that some of the criticism, what was that word? Some of the criticism that these games got was a bit harsh, but a lot of it was fair. And this is the point. A lot of it came from the viewpoint that this is not the direction we want Pokemon to go in. And I understand that. It's not the direction Pokemon's going in. You don't have to worry about that. But also, it does a lot of things that I don't really like. I don't like catching Pokemon the Pokemon Go way. It works for Pokemon Go. It doesn't work for a mainline, semi-mainline, more of a spin-off, but a main console Pokemon game. Bit annoying. I can see it as like a test for the Switch, but I don't really like it as Pokemon should be. Pokemon is battling, it's whittling Pokemon down with... They did the legendaries the right way. The problem is you can't do that for every Pokemon. You can't... If you're going to do it with the legendaries where you fight them first and then catch them afterwards, that works, but obviously you can't do that for Caterpie because it just takes too long, but that's kind of what Pokemon is. That's the problem. I don't know. Stylistically, I like them. The Pokemon Go tie-in's a bit strange. I feel like the best place to put them is here, because the rest of these games from B upwards, I can say that I enjoyed and had fun with. C downwards, I can say that there's issues. There's issues that may impair my enjoyment of them. So that's where we're going with that. Pokemon Sun and Moon. Oh damn, we're here. I actually kind of loved Pokemon Sun and Moon when they came out. I feel like that was a return to form for Pokemon, which is very important, because when we get to X and Y, you'll see how I feel about those. But Sun and Moon were very impressive. They did a lot of things. I love Alola as a setting, as a conventional destroyer of conventions, because suddenly you haven't got any gyms, you haven't got gym badges, you haven't got really a conventional Elite Four, you can fight them in an order. That's beautiful. I love that. That's very like, sort of Gen 5, and I think Gen 8 did that. I can't remember. I haven't played it. No, you can't. There's a competition. Of course not. But Gen 7 as a whole did a lot of very interesting things that I really do enjoy. The problem is, looking back on them, I don't love it as much. This is definitely the best version of Gen 7. That's the slightly bizarre thing, and I feel like we should lump them together because it's a good time to talk about both of them. Because what Sun and Moon did right, and it did do an awful lot right, Ultra Sun and Moon kinda slipped up a little bit. Like, there were interesting characters in Sun and Moon, like Lucamine is actually really interesting and psychotic and kinda crazy. In Ultra Sun and Moon, she's flattened into the ground. She's so boring. She's so one note and lifeless. So, can't exactly in good faith say that I enjoy what they did to her character. Suddenly there's this Rainbow Rocket thing as well. And Necrozma. Like, that fight against Ultra Necrozma was fucking ludicrous. I don't know why he's so strong. if you're doing a blind Nuzlocke, you were annihilated by that. And don't even lie, because you definitely were. So it's hard to really recommend that as the definitive version. But Sun and Moon are good. I do like them. I just don't really like these guys. I don't know if I should put them in D. I might move them up, but I think for now, you know what? I am going to put them in D. The reason being is that they're sequels, effectively. They're the definitive version. They're supposed to be better. A lot of the groundwork's already there. Just build on top of it. But they actually go backwards, and for that, I want to put them in D, because they should be better. They're just not. They should be a lot better than they actually are, and it disappoints me that they're not. We're going to go quickly with this next one, because Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, don't remember a damn thing. I played them growing up on the N64, I haven't played them for a long time. It was kind of like the first version of Battle Revolution, where there's not much story, there's not much, context to any of this, you're just doing a lot of battling. The difference being is that Stadium 1 and 2 had Gym Leader Tower, which was the coolest fucking thing in the world, where you fight all the gym leaders, all the Elite Four, and the champion with your team, and you do really well, and it's amazing, and they got different versions of their themes from the games, and I loved it. So for that, I'm going to put them in... it's a hard one. Is there a difference? I don't remember. Oh, there's mini-games as well. Did I mention there's mini-games? That's quite sweet. I don't really know how I would split them. I'm not sure I can split them off the top of my head, but I'm gonna put them... I want to put them in A. I want to make it different. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do this. Yeah, this is why. Because XD Gale of Darkness comes up next, and I want to explain that better. It's basically like a refined, really, really interesting version of Pokemon Colosseum, because they take the idea of Shadow Pokemon and they go a little bit crazy with it. They make it so that the bad guys, I want to call them Cypher. I can't remember if they're called Cypher. I think they are. Hold on. Hot damn, they're called Cypher. Oh god, the Metal Gear is coming out and it feels weird. But Cypher basically make a Shadow Lugia, which is awesome, and I'm really disappointed it hasn't come back in future video games. So that you have this awesome design, a Pokemon that you fight at the end, and you can catch at the end. That's also pretty sweet. But also, like, they go further with the characters. And not even further with the characters, there's new characters, but, like, they have wild Pokemon is a nice idea, where it's not quite as railroaded as Colosseum, and I don't know, like, I need to play that game again, but from what I remember, I had some chill vibes playing it, and actual enjoyment in finding every Shadow Pokemon and catching it all, and purifying them all, and loading them all onto my game file, because that's basically how you did it. You went in there and got yourself a Shadow Lugia and put it on your main game, because damn, it was nice having a Lugia for free. And that leaves us with Pokemon X and Y, and honest to God, I have no time for these games. Like, you can tell. I don't know if this is really like a new technology thing, where they need time to really refine what they're doing with the new technology. I appreciate what X and Y are, which is the first attempt at doing 3D Pokemon on a console, and that's fine, I do enjoy that, but my problems come from the fact that a lot of the experience behind that is really shallow. Really, really shallow. Like, the characters are dog shit. Like, your rivals, and there are many of them, I couldn't remember any of them if you held a gun to my head. There's the fat guy and the small guy, and there's two girls, and I remember one's called Serena, one's called Shauna. That's about it. The bad guy's terrible. The champion's not great. I don't know what they did. Like, from the story's genuinely really bad. I don't know why. And the villain doesn't work in the story. He's a bit too genocidal for Pokemon in a way. And I know they get to some weird things with Cyrus and Platinum and, Diamond and Pearl, but he's a bit like, we're just going to end the whole world because it's beauty is fleeting or some shit like that. So it's hard to believe anything that the game really does. And even then, mechanically, there's some strange things, because Mega Evolution was a nice idea for, like, the meta of Pokemon. Not so much for the actual inbuilt stuff that happens in the game, in the story, because they give you a Mega Lucario, and they give you, like, a starter Pokemon, which is good for your party, basically. If you chose, Gen 6 starters. If you chose Chespin, you get a Squirtle, so it actually works quite well for you, and that makes the game really easy, not just for Mega Lucario, but having these holes filled in your team. So, at the time of playing it, It's really dull, and I like the legendaries. I really like the legendaries. As long as they're not Zygarde. We didn't get a Pokemon Z, but thank God we didn't, because Zygarde does not work very well as a legendary, but I do like Xerneas and Yveltal as like a Norse idea, and like Yveltal was like a fucking carrion bird that kills everything. That, you know, just like is the embodiment of death. I like that, but in general, these are not games that I want to explore very often, effectively. And you might think we're done. You might think, wow, we've been going on for a very long time. We probably should be done. But alas, we're not, because what I'm going to do with editing magic, and I can do that because I'm amazing, we're going to talk about Sword and Shield, because it's been a while. It's been like, good like 9 months since the games came out, and I feel like I've formed an educated opinion, and I can just, you know, put an overlay and add the games in afterwards. How do I feel about Sword and Shield nowadays? Not amazing. It's hard to describe, because when they came out, I was full into the idea of playing a new Pokemon gen again, because I kept myself in the dark, decided not to find out what any of the Pokemon were, played it through, felt like a kid, felt wonderful. But only afterwards have I realized the issues with Pokemon Sword and Shield, and it's not the stuff that there's not all the Pokemon in the game, or that, you know, Game Freak lied to us, the graphics aren't as good as it could be. That's not important. It is a bit, but it's not massively important when talking about the overall quality of the gen, because my issues are more about the tonal difference between the wild area, which is wonderful and like the best new thing that Pokemon's done in ages, and the general routes and the places you go and the lack of things to do in those places, because the wild area is a crazy place full of dreams and wonderment, and then you go to any random route and fight trainers, and it's kind of dull and kind of boring, and the story happens without you, and the characters try really hard to push you away from the story and not get you involved. But how am I supposed to feel any kind of connection to the characters or the events in the story if I'm being told not to worry about it? So I can see what they're trying to do, but the fact remains that the DLC has been out for a while now, and I haven't finished it. I haven't felt inclined to finish it. I 100% in my Pokedex when it first came out, and I haven't really been back in any substantial way. Maybe when the second batch comes out I'll feel better about it, but I just don't know. I feel like there's too many like little issues with it. Too many little issues that are stopping me from really enjoying it. And for that reason, through the powers of editing wizardry, I'm going to put Sword and Shield in C, and that is with the DLC included, just because it needs something extra. The wild area, if that was Sword and Shield throughout, I'd probably really love it. Really love it. Be one of my favorite Pokemon games, but I just don't really buy it. I'm not really there for it, because there's too many things holding it back. Like, I want Pokemon to be this wide, expansive experience, but you're still taking me through routes where I've got to go right to left or left to right, and it's kind of, I feel like you missed an opportunity there. But yeah, that is a lot of Pokemon. It's not actually that much. It's just a lot of gens, and, you know, some of them are like doubled up in places. But what do you think? Do you think that I'm full of shit if I put too many in S or too many in the C tier? I don't really know. Could be correct. Do you think that Pokemon Ultra Moon and Ultra Sun are the best place to play Pokemon? Do you need me to hurt you? I definitely will, but let me know. Tell me if I'm wrong, because you definitely know that I am. But let me also know what you'd like me to talk about next week, because I have an open mind. I haven't really got any games that I absolutely must talk about. The first thing that came to my mind as I said that was Metroid. Would you be interested in Metroid games? There haven't been a new one for a while, so maybe that'd be interesting, but I can go into detail on that nearer the time. But Pokemon, wow, okay. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I'll see you whenever I do another tier list, probably next week. We'll see how it goes, but at any rate, thank you all for watching. Take care.